by Jason after I said that Mark of the Ninja was the best stealth game. I'm not sure if
I would halfway agree with you. It's a very, very good one.
it's a great one, but I'm not sure if I would call it the best stealth game anymore. Now that I've replayed a little bit of it,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's amazing. But anyway,
I think you could safely say it's the best 2D stealth game. Stealth Bastard
Sure.
comes pretty close, but it's not as good as this.
yeah.
I picked up Invisible Ink the other day for $7, so I think that might be a good stealth game as well.
Oh, it's a great stealth game.
Also by the same company. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
was
if
thinking
we're
about
ready,
that
I'll go
too.
ahead and do introductions.
Do your introductions.
What with this being my thing and all. So let me know when you're recording.
I'm recording.
All right. Welcome to the Twinstiq Game Club, everybody. My name is Screw Loose. Today we have, well, as always, we've got Cody Yoda. Say hi.
Hi.
And we've also got Grey Wolf. As always, say hi.
Hello.
All right, that was good. And then we've also got our guest today, our first guest. We were supposed to have two, but one guy had to bail, what with family obligations and whatnot. Today we've got this guy's my friend. He's Cody's friend. We've known him for a long time, and his name is Nikolai, as you might be able to see by the name. Say hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
All right.
Yeah. Don't be
Well,
alarmed
to me.
by his profile picture, but he is cool.
He's actually having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was amazing.
So this week on Game Club, we're playing Mark of the Ninja. This was my pick. That's why I'm doing the talking right now and not someone else. This is a pretty cool like action adventure stealth game where you are a ninja. The player is put in the role of a ninja who is sort of put into a old school versus new school battle for dominance in some manner. I don't actually remember a lot of the story because it's kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because the game's great.
Yeah.
So today we're just going to talk about it a little bit with these people, as we normally do. And I wrote down some things. I'm going to go ahead and put down my pros and cons real quick, just
it.
because this is what I like to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it
Yeah,
over to somebody
you're
else.
running the show, man. You do you.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna go-
So
Actually, I can turn that off from here. Sorry about the loud noises.
So we got first off, I'm gonna do pros. Okay, I love the art direction in this game. Hand-drawn characters and levels is really cool. This game has halfway decent voice acting, which is a big deal to me. It is a stealth title, which I like, but it's fun stealth. It's not boring, wait around for all day stealth like a Hitman game or something like that. There's a lot of ways to complete these levels that make it sort of feel a little less linear than the game actually is, and there's a lot of replay value because of that. And you also have the ability to pick and choose stages to replay that you've already completed, which I think is really cool, also for replay value. A couple of cons, really only a couple that I noticed right off. I think others have other cons. The dev commentary in the updated version of this game really gets in the way. If you're targeting a light or something with your darts,
Uh-huh.
and you happen to hit a dev commentary, it just shows up and
Oh, it just like
it just pauses the game, and then you get to read the dev commentary until you click
that's
out of
silly.
it.
I feel like it would be better if they just talked about the game and
Yeah.
when you did something they just started talking about it and then you could
Yeah.
keep playing while you listen
Yeah.
to them.
Now there is a setting I believe that you can actually disable the dev commentary, but I didn't do that, and I found it kind of broke the immersion here and there.
Yeah.
And for not playing this game for about a year, the controls actually felt pretty busy to me for a while until I got used to them.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
because
I was a little upset about that, but I played with a controller this time as well. Previously, I played with a keyboard and mouse, and I really liked that. But the controller, I don't know. At first, I didn't like it, but when I got used to it, it felt a lot better, which is probably what this was designed for to begin with, anyway.
Yeah.
But-
Go on. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. I was just going to say, anybody else have any pros and con type thoughts, or any thoughts at all? Really, is what we're going for.
Well, you are correct in that it was originally an Xbox Live Arcade game. That's all I'll say. And then Nick, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna try to play it with the mouse and keyboard, and
Oh my.
absolutely couldn't. It was horrible.
You're very brave. Because
See, when I first played the game, I played it all the way through with mouse and keyboard, and I still think it works pretty well. But I could have sworn when I first played it, it didn't have the controller prompts on screen because I tried playing it with mouse and keyboard now, and it still said like A, B, and trigger and left bumper and stuff. But I distinctly remember it being like swipe the mouse or right click and left click. So I'm not sure.
I thought I remembered that too.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I think it works fine on controller or keyboard.
lots of ports now have that problem where they're like, oh well, we're gonna port this to PC, but hey, let's not actually do anything about the button
let's
presses.
not update any of those images.
The very famous
real
one
work into it.
The real famous one is Dark Souls, where if you play Dark Souls and it's the port, and you do it with the mouse and keyboard, Dark Souls is just like, well, now you need to press the B button. Okay,
You're like, oh.
I'll press the B button on my keyboard. No, we mean on an Xbox controller. Like,
Get with the program, player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of annoying. But to me, I mean, that's really most of my cons only happen through that. I really love playing that game. It's a lot of fun. In fact, I've been playing it since I finished the playthrough that I just did.
Okay, yeah, there must have just been something. Maybe Windows 10 doesn't update it right. I have an image here. I'll send you guys. It's a picture of Mark of the Ninja, and they definitely have button prompts for keyboard and mouse. So I'm not sure why.
When I was playing it this time with mouse and keyboard, it was working just fine, and it had me swipe the mouse to the right.
Oh, okay.
But when I was, it was bad, and when I switched to controller, it was much better.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I mean, I didn't even try. I saw that you could, and then thought, given the way the game's set up and given the things you have to do, mouse and keyboard isn't going to work.
I don't really agree with that, because I don't know. I think it feels really smooth with a mouse and keyboard or a controller. I usually don't like controllers, or I usually don't like keyboards for stealth games, but since it's a 2D platformer, I didn't really find it that difficult.
Let me quantify the statement. One of the things that Scooter said was the control setup is very busy. And it is. If you play it with a mouse and keyboard, there's just a lot to kind of keep track of.
There's WSD, the space bar, and right click.
Right. But the thing is that the combinations of those things get a little bit hairy sometimes.
Okay.
And so...
You know, and I also noticed that it really benefits, the controller really benefits by having the analog sticks, because you can choose your speed.
Yes. Right.
You don't have to move as quickly.
Yeah.
And there's also it's easier to aim things with your darts and stuff. You don't have to hold two buttons and hope that the game decides where you're.
That's
aiming.
right.
Well, see, I think aiming is harder on the controller. I can see why the movement would be better on controller, but I think the aiming is a lot better with a mouse.
The one thing that I did notice when I was initially trying to play it was that the controller would be very finicky about where you were going to aim. Like, you would start aiming one place, and then it would go, oh no, you really want to aim here, and then you'd have to reset it, and it was just,
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, with the aiming with the mouse, you just move the mouse.
You just point it
I was thinking,
The only other problem that I really had was, and this was what invariably ended up ruining my run, was that the controller itself for the character is very, very responsive. So sometimes if you accidentally knock the left analog stick up or whatever, then he bumps up, and it can happen in inopportune situations, like you'll be under a grate or whatever, and really all you're doing is timing when you're going to come out, and accidentally knock the left trigger, and suddenly you're there, and all the alarms go off, and oh my god, and I died, because I attempted to play through, I died a couple of times just like that,
Yeah.
I'm one of those. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. Go ahead, Cody. I was just going to go on for a moment.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm one of those stealth gamers who, as soon as I get spotted, I just pause the game and restart from checkpoint.
Oh, right.
Unless I'm doing like a kill run through and I get spotted, I don't really care that much. But if I'm trying to play through the whole level without getting spotted or seen, as soon as I'm spotted at all, I'm just like, nope.
Okay, so let's talk about a mechanic very quickly. One of the sorry, I'm still sick. One of the optional things that you can do is you can go through the game without killing a single person. Did anyone attempt that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I attempted. I failed.
Yeah.
hard.
My favorite outfit to wear is actually the one where you don't get a weapon. You don't actually have a sword with you, so you can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Path of Shadows.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
That's
one of the things that's very clever about this game is that it sets up lots of opportunities for you to deal with people through the environment. Like there's a boss battle, like in level 4, I want to say it was.
Yeah, where you fight
where
the
they let you use the environment to deal with the situation. You never actually have to go down to the guy at all.
Yeah, it's not like
that's actually the only way to do it. If you go down there, you'll just die.
Okay.
Which I think is a little bit of a bummer.
I was watching a guy do a run, and I thought, him getting down there is gonna get him into a lot of hot water very quickly.
But at the same time, you are right about how it does let you approach things in different ways. Like, because I was saying, I went through the level without killing anybody, and George was like, well, you have to kill the last two guys guarding your dude, and I was like,
No,
you totally don't have to. And he was like, what? Yeah. Which is cool, because unless, it makes you actually have a conversation with other people and be like, oh no, I did it this way. Oh, cool. I never thought of doing it like that before.
No, it's probably a lot more difficult in your first playthrough because.
Now,
what I did for this was I replaced my save game with a new one, so that I didn't have any powers. I didn't play through New Game Plus and that.
Yeah, I did the same.
It was kind of a pain in the ass to do that because it doesn't save it traditionally.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I clicked New Game, just not New Game Plus, just starting a new game, and it was like, oh, you have all your things. I was like,
yeah,
why?
I don't know my things.
Yeah, whatever.
What are you doing?
So I was like, well, if I take the Mark of Shadows, then it's kind of like I'm not cheating because I can't,
Right.
I have less things I can do. So
it sounds like Shovel Knight in that respect.
I replaced that for the playthrough. The video I recorded, I put the save game back and played through New Game Plus a little bit with that. And
right. Because you said that you were having a super hard time. Was that because you were playing on New Game Plus?
I was having a hard time.
Yeah, very early on in the week, you were like in Slack, and you're like,
When I first fired it up again, I was like, man, I forgot how hard this game was. It's pretty difficult from the outset, especially I said with the busy controls. You can get
right. And were you playing New Game Plus at that point, or were you just playing?
No, that was the first start. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that before the podcast we were talking about this might be the best stealth game of all time, and the one thing that I felt immediately upon booting it up and starting to play it is that this is truly one of the games that there's this very specific fantasy of a ninja and how ninjas work, and this one just completely nails that fantasy dead on.
Yeah.
You're in the shadows and you have the smoke bombs, and the whole idea is to remain undetected until you need to do something.
Yeah.
And it does that fantasy so well.
You really feel like you're actually in ninja boots.
You really feel like you are a ninja, and you really feel like this is the way that whole system and that whole thing operates.
Yeah.
And that was remarkably cool.
Yeah, it's really fun, and as you go through it more, and finish some levels and gain some extra powers, the game will actually get a little bit easier for you.
Right.
Of course, right? Because there's actually like kind of a skill tree, I guess. They're just
there is.
Yeah.
I think it's automatic at the end of each level. It just says, "Do you want to upgrade your stuff?" And then you decide. And
there's a few points. There's a little point system you have to go through, and depending on your scrolls and whatever. And that was something else I was going to bring up too. Is there's all these little challenges. In every level. You've got a small list of things that the level says, okay, here's what you're going to do. You can do this to complete this seal, and this is this seal, and blah, blah, blah. And they give you a higher score at the end. And Nikolai actually brought up a really good point about the scoring system last night. I would like you to tell us about that.
Yeah. So if you're going through the game on each individual level, now I don't remember if there's a reward at the end of the game for not killing anybody. But at each individual level, if you don't kill anybody for that whole level, it's 5,000 points.
Yes.
Which, is cool. 5,000 points. But if I kill a guy and hide his body, that's 650 points? Because it's 400 points for the kill and 150 to hide the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I kill 8 guys, and I've made up for that.
And there's usually 30 plus dudes in a level.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And so that incentive is lost.
I agree.
If if you're going by point system, no, you should just kill every guy and hide every guy's body.
Yeah, especially because a lot of those unlocks are tied to how much score you can earn. Because if you don't earn all the seals from getting as many points as possible, then you can't spend those seals to get more powers and stuff.
And
so it's directly tied mechanically into that. You should probably just kill more people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking at Google very quickly just to see if there's anything that you get for not killing anyone, and everyone's frustrated because you actually get more score.
Yep.
For just murdering and just outright murdering everyone.
Yeah, it's just a player challenge, right, to do that. And I still have a lot of fun doing that. But it is a really good point because there's no reason to.
Yeah, the scoring and experience system is a complete contradiction to how great the game's level design is at actually letting you approach it in multiple ways. Especially since the only way you can get points from getting undetected, getting past a guard, is if you actually are right next to a guard and just scoot past them without getting detected. Then you get 250 extra points.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a room full of guards and go, fuck that, I'm gonna go around the room, you don't get a single point for getting around them undetected.
I can think of that kind of like counting coup, where you touch the enemy in the fact that you were so close but didn't get caught is cool, but it's still
well,
and
then,
the other thing
then maybe they should give you 300 points for getting that close, and then give you 200 for still doing it anyway. Because at the end of the level, like you're saying, they go through and they're undetected. These guys you never even encountered at all, and I'm like, wait, if I never encountered them all, doesn't that mean they should all be getting fired because I did my job well?
You also get bonus points for distracting them.
Yep.
So letting them know that something's weird.
gives
you points.
Yeah. It's funny because it's the exact opposite thing with a game like Hitman Blood Money, where every time you use stuff like that, you actually have to spend money to restock on your gear and equipment. And if you kill or even knock out somebody, then you will usually have to pay money to either pay off witnesses who are going to testify that they found dead bodies and stuff like that. So you're actually encouraged to never be seen or do anything with the environment at all except just get your kills. Whereas in this game, it's very contradictory to what the game can allow you to do and what it actually wants you to do.
Right, because it's quite funny. It sets itself up so well as this is the ultimate stealth game. You're a ninja, you're sneaking through everything, and then it breaks that entire immersion by going, oh, hey, if you kill everyone, hey, you get more score, and hey, you can unlock these things faster. And it's just a very weird dichotomy of what it's trying to do and then what it's saying you should do.
Yep.
And it's just how did you guys screw this up so badly?
I don't know if you guys played Dishonored, but Dishonored kind of made the same mistakes in my
totally. Now this kind of makes sense later on if you actually play the story through, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil this real quick for
anyone who didn't see it coming.
Massive
so the whole idea of the tattoos in Mark of the Ninja is that they're laced with a poison that will give you powers, right? That's how you get your ninja powers.
This isn't actually,
but they also drive you mad. Good. Those powers will
Yeah.
also drive you crazy with time, and the more tattoos you get, the crazier you get, and the weirder your visions are, and this and that. So it sort of comes into play at that point because your character is just nuts at the end. He's like he's out of his mind.
Yeah.
But that's it doesn't excuse the fact that they could have done that much better. They could have given a much better outlet for that particular scoring system.
Yeah. Because I literally watched a run of the 5 missions that you told us to play.
Mm-hmm.
Does your guy just become ever more coherent in the cutscenes as he goes along?
A bit. I guess that's sort of is like one of the final levels is totally just a vision.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. Actually,
it really is.
It reminds
really
me
awesome.
of the Scarecrow missions from the Batman games.
Because the idea is basically you have a choice at the end. You can either kill the master or kill yourself.
Yep.
Right. And obviously the honorable thing would be to kill yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Especially
you accept the marks, you're supposed to end your own life before you go nuts.
because you realize that you are going nuts because the guide, the tutorial lady who's been guiding you through the whole game, does not exist.
Right, yeah, she's a dream.
Yeah. That's kind of when they were setting it up and when they were telling you all this stuff, I was like, yeah, she's a voice in your head.
Yep.
Right, exactly. and they do a pretty good job at giving you a clue in that because she never does anything.
Yeah,
no,
she never
she really
interacts
doesn't.
with anybody.
Yeah, she's just
and
like,
also,
you need to do this now, and then you meet her, and she's not done anything. And it's like, well.
Yeah, also, you hear her voice when she's not there.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah,
like, you're sneaking around in the pipes,
Yeah.
and she's talking to you like, where is she?
Yeah. At first,
well, you've got that ninja sense power, so maybe that's
obviously.
Yeah.
No, at first I thought, okay, so what's happening is that he's got maybe a phone or something, and they're keeping in contact that way. But then in the first cutscene, it makes it very evident that this is an old school ninja, and they don't carry stuff like that around. And I was like, aha, I see what you're doing.
They do have remote. They do have remote control detonated noisemakers, though. They're fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no problem with that.
It's a type of fuse, actually.
Yeah, whereas once you think hard enough, it'll go for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time I threw one of those out, I was just sitting there like, okay, is it going to go off now?
Yeah.
So, it sort of became self-evident that she was a construct in your head, and that the story was leading you towards that you were going to just snap at some point, and that would be that.
Yeah, and the story is predictable, and I said it's mostly just forgettable, but it's presented okay enough to be fun.
Yeah,
the game is really cool.
The story serves its purpose in that it gets you from location to location, so you can have new types of level design, and they're great at those.
And on top of that, this is not an emotional wreck of a game like we've had the past 2 weeks.
No.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Nobody left this sobbing, crying. It was there was a sadness happening in those. But this one's a little bit more actiony, a little bit. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Yeah. There was another story Nick told me last night about how he got this game to finally run.
Oh yeah, that's the story. So
story.
A little bit of backstory. I just finished building my first computer from scratch, and so that was very exciting. And but
before you say anything else, welcome to the PC Master Race.
Yeah.
Well, I've been a part of the PC Master Race for quite a while. I just never built one myself. So
fair enough.
Now you get an official card.
Yeah.
No, it'll be in the mail.
Right, but I'm sure. But I left that at my girlfriend's house, and I was at my parents' house. So that's part of it. So I couldn't play on that computer. So I tried, because Mark of the Ninja is you can run it on a potato.
You can.
But the video card that is in my parents' computer, now that I have taken out the video card that I upgraded, is, I don't know if any of you will recognize this, it's a Sapphire X800 GTO. It came out in 2004.
Wow, that is old.
Yes,
is it
very
is
old
it there?
card.
If when you go in and you look at it, is it an old style? Because they used to have ISA slots on boards. Is this one like that old?
No, I think
04. It's probably
it
AGP.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would be, because
sure.
that's Vista era, isn't it?
Yeah.
It probably is AGP. You're right. Anyway, carry on.
So,
your story. I'm interrupting it again.
So it's okay. It doesn't matter. So I tried to play Mark of the Ninja, and I spent like an hour trying to get it to run on this card, which has enough processing power to run it, but it needs Pixel Shader 3.0. So Okay, it doesn't work. So I transfer all the Mark of the Ninja files over to the other computer at my parents' house using integrated graphics.
Oh.
and it runs okay at like 30 frames per second. So, but it runs, and that's enough to play this game.
Yeah.
But at that time, that computer is in my parents' bedroom. So they're going to sleep. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go back to the original computer, leave that computer on, and stream it from that computer to this computer. And it worked. I used Steam streaming.
That is amazing.
On an integrated graphics processor, like a week after I built a pretty high-powered PC.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's how.
That's beautiful.
That's how I played Mark of the Ninja.
That's using your noodle.
Yeah.
Is what it
Was
is.
there any significant input lag that way?
Not too bad.
I was gonna say it probably ran better than the people who originally bought this off Xbox Live Arcade. So
right, yeah, it wasn't bad. There was a little bit, but not enough to cause me any problems.
Right, it wasn't like because the thing about Mark of the Ninja is that if you're playing it properly, like I wasn't doing, then you take your time, and you think about what you're gonna do before you do it.
It's a stealth game, and as I said in my Invisible Ink review, stealth games are strategy games.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to the thing about Mark of the Ninja is that what it will do is it will increasingly up the stakes. Like you'll be in a room and there'll be just laser beams, or you'll go further along and then there'll be a room and there'll be two dudes and a dog, and then you have to think about how you're going to cope with all that. And if you're doing it properly, then you'll be okay. If you're like me, you'll die.
Yeah, and dogs, by the way, dogs are challenging. Dogs are tough.
Oh yeah,
especially if you don't want to kill anybody. Dogs are really challenging.
Yeah, because you can't hide from them. They have a
they have a
360-degree aura of.
They sniff
sense.
you out.
Yeah. Now you can get away from them in vents or under floors or whatever. There's always a way. There's always a way, which is as Cody mentioned, and this is like probably the biggest. Best thing about this game is there's always a way to get through it without ever killing anybody, without ever needing to.
Any of you guys ever do what I like to call guard jumping? It's my favorite thing to do in Mark.
Where you just hop over them?
Yep. You wait until they're just about to turn around, because they do that little thing where they turn their shoulders first, just before they turn around. So as soon as you see the shoulder turn, you jump up and you go over, and so they turn around, and then they're facing where you were as you jump over them.
Yeah.
I love to do that to get past guards. Sometimes it's hard to nail down, but a lot of the times, sometimes that's like the only way you can get past a guard.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the shield guys, because sometimes there's no way to get around them, and if they see you, it's a one shot. Basically, you're just done.
Yeah. Well, that's how I treat the game anyway. If I get seen, that's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this game does that a fair amount. If you're in a room and the lasers go off, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
it's an unfortunate
I mean, it's an
effect.
unapologetically, it's a stealth game. That's it.
Yeah, that's just
you're not meant to be able to take any hits, right? You're a ninja. Yeah. You're wearing a cloth.
Yeah, you're like a glass cannon. You can dish out a lot of damage, because a lot of the guys that, if you're smart about it and you get behind them, you can just one-hit kill them. Yeah. So you can deal an incredible amount of damage, but if you get spotted or if something goes wrong, then you're screwed, and you may as well just go back to your last save point.
Your chances of survival are very low. Sometimes you can get away, you can hide from them again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not actually that hard to get away once you've been spotted. Yeah. I just never do it. I just reload a checkpoint.
Yeah, because I don't like having that mark on my record. Like, no, I'm a ninja. If I get spotted, I should just commit seppuku on the spot.
Minus 800 points.
Yeah.
I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot of points.
Not only that, but like you're a ninja, but you're also like this crazy ninja with superpowers. Yeah. Like you're supposed to be able to just be the best.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd hate to bring up Hitman more and more talking about this game, but I'll probably do that talking about any stealth game we play. Hitman Blood Money has the best solution to save scumming and difficulty than any stealth game I've ever played. In Hitman Blood Money, the number of saves you get in a level is determined by the difficulty. So easy, you can just save as many times throughout the level, and you can reload obviously at any time. On normal, I think you only get 7 saves. You get 7 saves throughout an entire level, so you have to actually pick and choose when you're going to save. And because if you're save scumming, you're going to need to actually choose about when that happens, and hard is like 3 saves, and assassin's like 0. I think Mark of the Ninja could have benefited from a system. And really, any stealth game can benefit from a system like that.
Right.
Yeah, like a hardcore mode, essentially.
Right.
Well,
because
no, I just think because the game has so many checkpoints at every turn that every time you get spotted, there's no
downside to being spotted.
Yeah,
really.
or to just going like, oh, I'll just reload because my saves are constant and all the time.
Yeah, there's no penalty to doing that.
Yeah, there's no thing where I go, okay, well, I'm playing on normal. I only have 7 saves on this whole level, so I better pick and choose when I'm going to do that and actually.
Right. Even if it just had like a death counter at the end or something like that, even if reloads or something, and he was like, you fuck,
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is great about this game is its presentation. It absolutely nails the fantasy of being a ninja, but the environments that it puts you into are just also very well rendered and very
gorgeous.
Atmospheric. Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the levels.
Yes. Yeah.
And really, the only way to really see that, though, is if you're watching a video like you did, Gray, because it's hard to pay attention to anything going on in the background.
Because the
backgrounds are awesome.
Right, when you are actually playing the game, then you are focused on you, and you're focused on the ninja.
Focused on you and the level. But even then, you still get the atmosphere from everything, because if it was just the level and you on a black background, the game would not feel nearly as immersive as it does.
Right.
Yeah.
But also...
Go ahead.
The other thing that's very neat about it is that the thing you have to understand about Mark of the Ninja is that it is really just a hallway. You're going from point A to point B. But the great thing about this hallway is that it is very, very wide. There are lots of little nooks and crannies and little special things that you can go out of your way to find. And the game is relatively good about telling you where to go and what to do next, because it has that invisible lady that talks to you. But at any point, for any reason, you can just break off the golden trail and you can go scouting for secrets.
Yep, and it will reward you for that too. If you're finding new paths and areas, there'll always usually be little things you can pick up that'll give you extra score and stuff like that. Artifacts.
Yeah, little relics, and there are challenge rooms, and I haven't even talked about that.
Oh god, those are so much fun
let's
too.
Talk about the challenge rooms. Go ahead, tell us about those.
The challenge rooms are a real pain in the ass. Actually, they're really hard.
Wow. Yeah, they're great.
They're real challenges. It's not like, jump to this platform, you win. No, it's not like that. There's like one of the easiest ones I can think of right now.
Probably the laser one.
Yeah, there's a couple with lasers. There's one that's just there's a box on an upper floor, and you start on the bottom, and there's lasers going on, and there's a switch right next to you. So you turn off one laser, and it starts more lasers up, and you have to figure out the best way.
The order.
You get up to the top, and you pull this box around until it's blocking lasers, and then you got to get down to the bottom on a little floor pad and drop the box down and hit the switch again and move around. And there's a lot of that stuff happening. And later on, in the harder challenge areas, they're so hard. They're like hair-pulling frustration hard. But they reward you pretty well. It's the first time you do them, of course. After that, there's really just nothing aside from maybe a little score. But that's, I think, if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong about this because I didn't actually research it, but it seems like doing the challenge rooms is what gets you the outfits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you get the Mark of Shadows one, is by doing the guards challengers.
Okay.
So they're pretty cool. They're worth having because the different path outfits, right? Because you start with the path of the ninja, where you just have a standard outfit, you got a sword, and you carry a couple of items. And then there's one that Cody likes, the Path of Shadows, which is a fun one, where you don't get a weapon. So
the only benefit is that you don't make sound while you run. That's literally it, which doesn't really affect much at all.
Well, I can think of where I would like to not make sound when I run.
Yeah. Well, you can also carry 3 items, it seems like, in that.
Yeah, you can. There's
two in the shadows one. There's 3 in the normal one. You can only get 2 in the shadows. And then 3 is the one where you get like a weapon, and I think there's maybe like 4 items you can carry. The
nightmare one.
Yeah.
The nightmares, Path of Nightmares.
Yeah.
That one's cool too, because if you secretly kill somebody and somebody else sees it, it will terrify the guards, and then you get another. They have a chance of shooting themselves or whatever. And there are several of these outfits, and the last one is actually in the DLC bundle. And I wasn't going to talk about that because this game that we were just playing the standard version. But man, I had the DLC bundle a long time ago, and I was really sad that I never played it then because it's really good. It's just one level. It's very long. It's probably relatively long. Most levels take about 15 minutes, maybe. This takes about 40 minutes. And and at the end of it, you get the outfit for finishing the level. And basically, what you're doing is playing as Dosun, the guy that's doing the tattoos.
Oh.
So you get his outfit, and his outfit is called the Path of Wisdom. So he doesn't have a weapon, and he is non-lethal. So he knocks people out.
That's awesome.
So you can go through a level and not kill anybody pretty easily that way.
Yeah, because you can just knock people out and not have to try to get around them and leave them.
Yeah, and then you can still hide bodies, and you still get the bonus.
Yeah, you get all the bonus.
And you can still kill people by dropping them off of ledges.
Yeah.
And he has a fungal spore bomb that is like a poison bomb essentially, but it's cool because when you use it, it knocks out the guy that hits it, and if somebody sees that and comes to inspect it, then the spores go off again and it kills that guy too.
And then
and it'll happen over and over and over again if
that's
people
great.
keep coming. It's a really awesome thing. Yeah. So that is a really fun one to play, and I want to go through the whole game in that because it's so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And all of the paths, they're different in very specific ways, and they're really worth getting. So anybody that hasn't played this yet, and I realize this game's been out since 2012, right? It's 4 years old now. Anybody who hasn't played it yet, I really recommend getting it. If you haven't got the DLC bundle, you can upgrade it. If you've already got the game, you can upgrade it for $1.99. It's not expensive. Cool. It's worth playing, and I think it's only $5 if you buy it separately. So
only play this game if you want all other stealth games ruined for you, though.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's true. I'm a huge stealth fan. I love so many stealth games. It's probably my favorite genre. I think this is the most accessible stealth game, though.
Okay.
If anyone's ever if someone goes, I don't like stealth games, or they go, I've never played a stealth game, I don't think I'd be very good at them, I think this is probably the best one to point them to because
it's a good jumping off point.
It's the easiest to get into, and I think for that reason you could probably consider it the best for.
Definitely, at least in my opinion, definitely the best 2D stealth game. We talked about that earlier briefly. I do think that so far. Now I haven't played them all, obviously, but
one of the great things about the design and the visual design of this game is how uncluttered it is, and because part of the problem with like lots of stealth games is that often there's too much happening either in the user interface or on the ground where you're looking at things. And this one makes it perfectly clear, right, that the guards can see this way. The dogs have a very specific cone that blips, and you can see just how far they can smell.
Yeah.
And you can make your way, and you can make plans based on what you're seeing. Because the whole design of the game, and it's fantastic, is incredibly uncluttered. Yeah. It lets you know exactly what you need to know just by looking at the screen without doing too much to the screen that it becomes super busy and unwieldy.
And this was the first game we've seen a few stealth games take this and run with it since then. But the mechanic that really making this game stand out as being accessible for people who don't play stealth games is the visualization of the noise that you make and the noise that you can trigger on things and how far that noise can be heard.
Yeah, exactly. And before we go any further, I forgot to mention straight ahead at the beginning of this whole thing, True Legend Killer, a guy that's normally with us every day, George, our friend George, also really loved this game. He couldn't be here today, sadly, but he's got real life, and we understand that. And he said he loves the art, he loves the challenge, he loves all the mechanics, he loves the lighting, design, everything else. Freaking love the game. That was the quote. He didn't really have a whole lot else to say about it because he's busy, but the idea is that he liked it. So I wanted to make sure we got his mention in.
Yep. He also mentioned the sound design as being very good as well, which is what we were just talking about.
You
mentioned the voice acting too, and it is really top notch. The cutscenes, they feel like a Saturday morning cartoon, and
they're very well presented.
Yep.
Now, something I wanted to mention too, because even though I mentioned it as a con earlier, the developer commentary being the way it was, but actually it's very interesting if you read it. They come up in little pages, and they're just interviews basically from around the office and the team that built the game, and they talk about how they built the levels and how they designed the sound. And one of the lead designer even says, I made this huge mistake by not saving changes at one point, knowing where I put things, and he said it was all very iterative. So what I had to do was go back and just basically run through the whole level and watch everybody's pathing, so where I could move objects and always make sure that the player had an out.
Yeah.
Right.
And so reading those is worth doing, even if they're in the way, at least once. Give it a shot, because it is interesting.
Yeah, I definitely would like to check that out one of these times. That would be really cool.
Yeah, and it pauses the game. It's just it's the con for me was the fact that it can happen accidentally.
And it just stops the game completely. Suddenly you're immersed, and now you're not.
Yeah, it has a problem with breaking immersion. Yeah.
Right. You were mentioning that it feels a lot like a Saturday morning cartoon when the cutscenes come up, and that's so true. There's this moment where they reveal this villain, and he is such a cartoon. He's just, I'm sipping on this wine, and it tastes fantastic, and you could have used the money for that to buy, proper Kevlar vest, but no, this is wine, and it's super good, and it's just he's hilarious.
Or the way it's written too, what's the line where your master says, we've shunned of the modern world, and it's jackals of industry.
Yes.
It's oh my god, yes.
Cheesy. Now this company, the Klei, K-L-E-I, I'm not sure. I've never even heard it pronounced. Klei, whatever. They also made games Shank and Shank 2, and they're fun. They're not particularly wonderful, but they're fun. And they also made I just mentioned it just a little bit ago, Invisible Ink.
Yes.
They have a lot of games.
That's their latest one. Don't Starve is probably the one that everyone on YouTube will know them for, because
Don't Starve.
Survival games are the big thing, but Invisible Ink I think is a really great addition to the stealth genre, because it's a turn-based strategy game that is also a stealth game.
Yeah, it's a bit isometric. It reminds me
weird at first, but they blend together so beautifully.
It reminds me a touch of like if you were to take Mark of the Ninja, make it isometric, and then turn it into Shadowrun.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. It's also a roguelike. Invisible Ink, you can't beat the game on your first run through. The premise is kind of like XCOM, where you have a group of agents and you have to go around and stop a global crisis. You cannot beat it on your first playthrough. You will lose, but after you lose, you get to keep all your gear and the agents that you acquired on your first run. And so the idea is like a roguelike, to collect resources to eventually beat the game.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't played it.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet either.
Yeah,
but
we might have to nominate that on the GameClub one of these days. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Mostly because I own it already. I don't have to buy another game.
Yeah, that was the only early access game I will ever buy. But it wasn't on early access. They were like, "Hey, help us with this. This alpha is $3." I was like, "Okay," and then they later put it on early access.
Yeah. Now, before we go way off on track, anybody else have anything to say about this before we wrap it up? Because I think we said a lot, really.
Well,
How about Mark of the Ninja?
Mark of the Ninja, I would highly recommend to everybody. Stealth veterans, you're gonna love it because even though it is pretty easy at first, once you start unlocking things that allow you to play the game in more difficult ways, you'll start to really appreciate the level design. It's not quite like Stealth Bastard where it requires a lot of precision handling and timing and stuff like that. It's just a classic sit around, be patient, look for patterns stealth game.
Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't like stealth games, this will get you into them.
Yeah, right. It's a good jumping off point.
Even I'm terrible at things that require reflexes, but for what it was and the way it presented itself, I could really appreciate it. And watching the playthrough that I did, just drove home how wonderfully presented and how great the fantasy is of what they were getting across. It's one of because the thing is that games often fall into two camps. One camp is like the Western RPG where they drop you into a world and then they give you these characters, and the characters are basically just paper dolls. You can dress them and you can do whatever, but you are there for usually the world and sometimes the story. Where what Mark of the Ninja does is it gives you this preconceived guy and he's going through this stuff, but it's so well presented and it nails the fantasy of being a ninja so well that how linear it is ends up not mattering.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. It knows what it's doing and it sticks right to that to the core.
Yeah, that's true. It gives you does exactly what it says it wants to do. Yeah. How about you, Nick? Any thoughts? Any last thoughts?
It's a good game. You should play it.
All right. I will.
Yeah. I will continue to keep playing it.
Yeah. Nope. That's it.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that's it, man. I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Mark of the Ninja. This was my pick again for Game Club this week, and next week we're gonna be playing Alan Wake. This is gonna be True Legend Killer's pick.
Yep.
He would be telling us about this right now, but he's not here.
And he didn't tell us where we need to play too, so we have to ask him about
right,
that.
yeah,
So
we'll have to.
We just don't know.
We'll have to mess with that some.
Well,
and then, of course, the week after that, or the after we finish that, we'll roll for another set and whatnot. Unless I didn't bring this up, and maybe I should now. I don't know if we want to continue playing Mark of the Ninja or if we just want to stop. I'm down with stopping because I mentioned that I would prefer this just be a 1 week thing. But
right,
really
because that was one of the things you said. We'll play up level 5, and that will be that.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm down with staying with that, but I figured I would go ahead and give the choice.
Since I'm just watching a playthrough, I don't really mind what we do.
Okay, so let's just keep it this week then, and we'll just say for sure next week is going to be Alan Wake. Again, that's True Legend Killer's game. This is our buddy George.
Let's just say we'll get to episode 2. Don't start episode 2. We'll just get to episode 2 of Alan Wake.
Okay.
It's an 11-hour game. There's 6 episodes, so let's just get to episode 2.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right.
And
if that changes, maybe he can update it in the intro article that he puts out for it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, hey, thank you everyone. Thanks Nick for being our guest. You are very first Game Club guest.
Awesome.
You'll have to come back with your
terrifying
profile picture.
Well, maybe I'll change it to something even more terrifying.
More terrifying. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Less is not acceptable, but more is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. Probably not next week, but at some point, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Thank you for joining us on Game Club. This has been Twinstiq, and we've had Yoda and Screwloose and Nikolai and myself. Remember that we're playing Alan Wake, and we'll be talking about that next week. We will get to episode 2, so if you're playing along, get to there. Don't go further, because that way you'll be spoiling yourself. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.